I'm Allendale's Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. As we take a look at action here across the country, there's not a lot of change since early this morning, at least in the surface analysis. Low pressure sitting near Kansas City. Got a low pressure area up right along the North Dakota-Manitoba border. And we've got another low that's back near northeast Colorado. That's the one that's changed a little bit. Didn't see that low sitting there this morning. It's kind of developed after an initial low moved off to the east. Cool front sags down through the at least central and eastern part of the Corn Belt. Cool front all the way down to the Ohio River Valley. But you got to go west of that front, back through western Iowa and into the plains to start to see warm air starting to surge northward, and it is right now. So it's something that we need to watch as we go through the rest of this week. Probably have some much warmer air on the way. Temperatures likely above normal for at least the middle and end of this week to come. We'll see the warm air pushing in from west to east. New model runs in, don't show a whole lot of change. It really looks like moisture is going to be somewhat hit and miss over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours as a frontal complex works through slowly. Moisture, for the most part, looks like it's going to be a quarter to a third of an inch or less. Coverage about 70% of the Corn Belt. There will be some embedded thunderstorms in there. So, for example, as we go through the nighttime hours tonight into early tomorrow morning, could see thunderstorms rumble across Missouri, as an example. And then as we go through tomorrow afternoon toward midnight, might see a couple of showers or stronger thunderstorms fire off with more intensity over northeast Indiana, northwest Ohio. But where those things fire off is going to be very hit and miss, even through midweek. Going to see some thunderstorms maybe Wednesday afternoon over parts of south central Illinois. Again, just kind of a hit and miss deal, likely driven by the heat out there, with temperatures pushing back in the upper 80s and lower 90s across the central and western Corn Belt. That will trigger better thunderstorm action. So I'd say here at midday, if I'm going to kind of skew these models from this morning's look any different, I'd say they're a little bit wetter than what they were here initially, short term through the rest of this week, than what we saw in our overnight write-up. However, I'm not getting overly excited about that wetter outlook because it is such a hit-and-miss thunderstorm scenario. It looks like there's going to be an active track of scattered showers and storms from central Minnesota all the way down into central Indiana. Go 150, 200 miles either side of that line. That's going to be the channel where a lot of this stuff tries to fire off. So, yeah, a little bit more moisture in here short term, but will we actually realize it? I think that's what you've got to look for, and that's why I'm going to kind of continue to play things a little bit more conservative. Strong front tries to work through as we go through the early part of next week. The initial push of good rains over Minnesota lifts up into Ontario, doesn't quite get here as we finish out the weekend and go into early next week. But the secondary front that comes in around the 26th into the 27th, that's a good one. 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain trying to work through 90% of the Corn Belt. So there will be good rains coming as we go through the week next week. Cool air, markedly cool air follows in on the heels. So while temperatures are going to be normal to above and mostly above for this week, we're going to be normal to below for the second half of next week, right on into the turn of the month. So we are going to be looking at a big change there. Canadian high pressure settling across the region as we go through the turn of the month. We'll see a big battle between warm air and cool air then unfolding over the plains, while that cool air parks southward late next week over the Corn Belt. Warmer air surges northward over the plains, so we could see some thunderstorm potential there. Otherwise, just no real significant changes in the extended. Another front may be coming through first into the second. So there's a chance of some moisture there, and that front actually could bring some decent precipitation on into Labor Day as well. So at this point, no real need to deviate from this morning's forecast much. Elsewhere, I've heard a few areas talk about frosty in Argentina. I'm not going to completely poo-poo that notion, but at the same time, the cool air that's there is typical for this time of year, so I'm not sure it's done a lot of damage, but that was a headline making some progress around. Still looking dry in China going forward as well, so that may be a story to watch here in the days ahead. Outside of that, no major changes, so we'll leave it at that. I'm Allendale's Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.